So, as I said previously, I was refurbishing the wood on, well, fixing the stock and refurbishing the wood on this Spanish Cavalry Carbine, which when Spain, so the history of it is it started life off as a 7x57 Mauser, but when Spain adopted the set-me rifle, G3, essentially German G3 rifle, in 7.62 NATO, they decided not to sell these things. They decided not to trash them, or give them away to you know, third world proxy nations and whatnot. What they did was they rebarreled them. Sorry, coffee. They rebarreled them and rechambered them in 308 in 7.62 NATO. So these things will handle 7.62 NATO cartridges, obviously the high pressure cartridges, even though the slim trim stocks on these things were not designed to handle the military 308 ammo. I think quite obviously the 7x57 is milder. And originally, if you go way back to when I first got it, what happened was that typically what happened with a lot of the rebarreled, these that have been rebarreled in 7.62 NATO, is that because the 7.62 NATO is so violent compared to the 7x57 Mauser, is that the stocks would crack, and this was cracked. So this had you can't even see it now. It's got a crack in the top. Yeah. So now, yeah, I've done such a good job. Yeah, I've done such a good job that you can't even see that crack, just barely. The one down the bottom, I think that's just recently developed. Oh, I don't know. But so there was a cracked top, cracked bottom. Originally someone had put a bolt through there and tried to shore it up. Through there, tried to shore it up. You can see where that plug hole is, all the way through. I did that one, the little one. If you can see that one. That one. So, just to pull it all together, because it had obviously, the crack is lengthways. Inside, down the bottom, and there was one up top. So with those two, so that little one that I did, I used a 4mm all thread and just some nuts, and one side I double nutted, yeah, and all you do is just, because where I've altered, like this thing, where I've altered, so this stock I've altered, I chopped a piece off and whatnot to make it, because this Spanish Carbine was in this stock for a while. This is a Swedish M38 stock. Now you might say, well, how did you manage to do that if this is a Spanish Cavalry Carbine? Because this is a small ring, originally 1893, but they call this the 1896, I think, whatever, Mauser. So prior to 1898, this was the Mauser that you bought. Obviously after 1898, the 98 Mauser. The Swedes just stayed with this one and kept making it for a long time. The small ring Mauser, the 1893 pattern. For whatever reason, they really didn't cotton on to, or didn't really think much of the 98, and I think they're wrong, but there you go. I think 98 was an improvement and a progression. Yeah, it was progress. So anyway, you can see that the stock, yeah, it looks really nice now after I've true oiled it. So I had it sand back. I had it sitting around for it actually warped. Warped, just sitting around. That's the problem with wood. Yeah, it moves. so I had it sanded back all the way back. I fixed up the holes. It was sitting around for quite a while because I hate working with stocks. I really do. I much prefer working with the actions, triggers and sights and whatnot. Steel. I'm a steel person. It's in my blood. My father was a blacksmith, like a proper blacksmith from old Europe. You know, he'd never seen a factory made horseshoe in his life until he came here to Australia and didn't even know they existed. Everything that he made was by hand. I mean everything. So he did get into a little bit of trouble altering and modifying and making firearms illegally back in the old country, but let's not talk about that. So that's the Spanish Carbine. Really happy with it. It looks true. You know what? True Oil. I don't think there is any other finish like True Oil. True Oil just, yeah, if you do it right. So what I do with True Oil is that I'll have the bare stock and then I'll put on a big thick layer with a paintbrush. Just let it soak it all in, and then hit it with probably 200 grit or something like that, 300 grit or something like that. Really, you know, take it down. Let it really get into the pores. Sand it back aggressively, and add another thin coat with a paintbrush. A thin coat this time. Sand it back with, I don't know, 600 grit or something, and then rub it on. Very light rub it on. Let that dry. I get impatient with rifle stocks. I really do. So the thing with True Oil is that if you apply heat after you've put it on, after you've let it sort of soak in for a while, if you apply heat, it does speed up the process. And because, hey, this is what I have, my opinion on rifle stock, or finishing rifle stocks, or fixing rifle stocks, whatever. How good it turns out depends on how much time you put into it. That's pretty much it. If you have no patience, don't do it, because it'll turn out like a pile of crap. I guarantee it. You know, you might luck out, but if you don't give it sufficient time to cure and dry and that's why I apply the heat. I use a heat gun. I hang it up and just hit it with a heat gun, maybe a couple of times, and yeah, a few hours go by and it's dry. Not totally, but enough to sand. So anyway, and then sorry, I broke my concentration. So after I've done that rub, and very light with really fine, very fine, maybe 1,000 or something like that, just really lightly, and just not press, just taking off the imperfections, just the very microscopic rough spots. Then I'll rub it on again, very fine. Yeah, very light rub with a soft cloth. Spilling coffee on myself. And that's the last coat that I apply, and I'll cook it, or if I have patience, I'll let it dry. I usually cook it, and then what I do is get some 000 steel wool and just go over it. Just take that really full sheen gloss off. Just give it a bit of satin, and I think it comes out the best. I really do. I think that method, so because I've done a few stocks and that, and I think that method really does bring out a really nice stock. So this is I don't know what this stock is. I'm assuming that it's beech. It could be walnut. I don't know. I think because the top has got some some nice pattern in it. That top guard. So anyway, that rifle's done. So what's next on the list? One rifle that that I have a lot of time for, and that I'm actually going to go into the process of accurizing, is this thing. This is the Swiss K31 Carabiner Dreien or whatever. Dreien, yeah. Straight pull action. Ooh, it's got a bolt hold open for last round. So the idiot catch. They are, if you don't, you know what, these are around quite a lot. Actually, Cleavers in Brisbane, they've got tons of these things. If you don't have one, even if you don't like military firearms, pick one up, because you can sporterize it. Like, you really can sporterize it. I've seen some nice sporters, and it's just, yeah, it's an amazing. You know what? The amazing thing about this rifle is the trigger. It's a two-stage trigger. It's got this massive take-up, very, very light, very long, light, massive take-up, but it's very even and smooth. Like, there's no crunching or anything. It's very, very even and smooth. And then the break is very crisp. As far as military rifles go, this is it, trigger-wise. I don't think... I seriously doubt that there is a military rifle on the planet since military rifles have been made. This is a bold statement, but I'm really telling you, this is the best military rifle trigger that I've ever encountered. And so I've shot, I've had the distinct pleasure of shooting quite a few military, modern military firearms, or what would be considered relatively modern. And yeah, nothing compares to that K31, the trigger. They're just an amazing rifle, you know. If like, I think you can get them for like, how much are they? $1,200 or something? $1,300 from Cleavers. And the thing about these things is that the barrels are pristine. Like, I mean, yeah, the woodwork might be beaten up a little bit, like this one's beaten up a little bit, but the metalwork, just the quality of the engineering, the magazine, it's a work of engineering. It goes in, you know it's in. It's got this huge hook on the trigger. I don't know what the go there is. So that's a 6-shot magazine. Yeah. Just when you look at the metalwork and just how well it's done, you know. So this is a scope mount from, oh man, I can't remember the name of the company, but it's a Canadian company. And this scope, because the scope base is so well precision machined, this mount went in there perfect. I mean, the tolerance is just amazing. And you look at this rifle, how well it's made. I still haven't been able to get it to go better than 1.5 inches averaging, which most people with a scope, with a more powerful scope than this is only 12 power, a Leupold VX Freedom. But I can tell you right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refurbish this stock, because it's just an oil finish. They've just put oil in it, linseed oil or something or other, and it's okay, but the pores are still open in my opinion, and it doesn't matter how much oil you put into it, we're just going to soak it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip it back and give it the true oil treatment so it looks like that carbine. What do you reckon? Because this thing deserves it. And I've got this weird ass deflector plate here, because when it ejects, it wants to chuck it straight over your head, so it just goes straight into the scope. So you got to have some sort of deflector system, and there was 2 screw holes on the side of the scope base. I'm assuming that's exactly what those screw holes were for. That's my assumption. Good idea. That Canadian company, I can't remember offhand who it is. But anyway, so this is next on the refurbishment front, and I'm going to have a shoot at that Spanish Carbine again, because it looks so beautiful. It needs to get shot. So this next shoot, probably in a few days, I'll go and have a shoot of it, because I've got some ammo that I need to shoot off. But anyway, this thing, the Swiss K31 get one. It's just a work of art. They are heavy. They are a big chunky thing, and they kick. They've got some serious recoil. So next time you'll see me, I'll shoot the Spanish Carbine. I'm not going to shoot this because I'm going to strip it and redo the stock. I'll shoot the Spanish Carbine. I'll shoot the Tikka 243 varmint, and I'll shoot the 3006 again. And yeah, I'm not sure when the PTA for my 300 Winchester short magnum is going to come. I was hoping it'd be a quick one, but it's taken a little bit of time. So actually, this is the sling off the K31, so that's nice. It hasn't fallen apart or deteriorated, which is unusual. They usually do. The leather usually just turns into crumbly crap and just splits. So what I'll do is I'll actually copy this and make a new one, because it is old and cracked, and yeah, they if you don't take care of them, they will fall apart. So I'll just put that away, and I'll do a copy of it, or give it to a friend who does the leather work. I don't like doing leather work. You know, it's just another thing that you got to buy. You know, all the tools and everything for. So maybe sometime down the track. Actually, in the post, I just got tally rings for the 300 WSM. I hope they fit. Hope they're not too low, because I'm probably gonna put the Burris Fullfield on there. The 4.5 to 14. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So until then, see you later.